Imagine standing at the edge of a peaceful pond in rural Zhejiang province, China. The air is still. Birds skim across the water. Villagers have passed by this place for centuries, never suspecting that beneath the calm surface lies one of the most baffling engineering mysteries in human history. A forgotten megastructure, carved with impossible precision. A subterranean world so vast that even modern engineers struggle to explain how it was built. This is the story of the Longyou Caves, a place where history, myth, and unanswered questions intersect. Our journey begins in 1992, when a group of curious villagers decided to do something simple: drain a pond. For generations, these small ponds had dotted the landscape. Some villagers believed they were bottomless, or at least incredibly deep. But after a long summer of drought, one villager wondered, what if it's not a pond at all? What if something else is beneath it? So they brought in pumps and began draining the water. What happened next would rewrite archaeology. After several hours, the water level dropped and kept dropping. Then the villagers saw something they couldn't explain: massive, perfectly carved stone walls emerging from the depths. This wasn't a pond. It was an entrance. A gateway. A man-made chamber sealed by time. And once the water fully drained, they found themselves staring into an enormous stone cavern. Its walls carved with geometric precision. Its ceilings perfectly smooth. Its surfaces decorated with mysterious parallel chisel marks that covered every inch even. The ceilings 40 feet above. This was the first of the Longyou Caves, a structure carved entirely out of solid sandstone. And it wasn't the last. Over time, researchers discovered 24 enormous caverns hidden beneath the region, each carved with such accuracy and symmetry that engineers still struggle to explain their construction. But before we talk about how they were built, let's understand just how massive this project truly was. Each Longyou Cave is the size of a cathedral. Some stretch more than 30 meters tall, with internal chambers, columns, bridges, and massive hall-like chambers carved into the bedrock. The total excavated volume is believed to be over 1 million cubic meters of stone. That's the equivalent of removing enough material to fill 400 Olympic-sized swimming pools. And here's where the mystery deepens. These caves show no signs of collapse, despite being carved more than 2,000 years ago, according to tool mark analysis. The ceilings are perfectly stable. The pillars are evenly distributed, and the structural integrity suggests advanced knowledge of engineering, geometry, and long-term load-bearing design. Yet there is no historical record. Not a single ancient text, scroll, or inscription captures their creation. No hint of their purpose. No mention of the workforce required. No name of a ruler, architect, or dynasty credited with the construction. This is extremely unusual for ancient China, a civilization that meticulously documented its achievements. So who built the Longyou Caves and why? One of the most striking features is the uniform chisel pattern covering every surface. They resemble fine, parallel brushstrokes, running at a consistent angle. These marks aren't random, they're deliberate, artistic, and identical across all 24 caves. This suggests the caves were not carved at different times or by different groups, but instead as part of a single project with centralized planning. Another mystery: no tools or construction debris were found. Not a single broken chisel, not a pile of discarded stone. Even though carving out this much sandstone would have produced millions of tons of waste, the surrounding area holds no evidence of how it was transported or where it was dumped. And perhaps the strangest clue is this: every cave has the same precise angle of inclination, the same smooth pillars, and the same interior layout style. Yet none of the caves connect to one another. They were carved with shared design principles, but separately, like temples built in parallel universes. Naturally, this has sparked countless theories. Some scholars believe the caves were ancient underground storage chambers, used to protect grain, weapons, or valuables from war and weather. But if that were true, why carve them so elaborately? Why decorate walls that no one was meant to see? Others propose that the caves were tombs for royalty, crypts for emperors or nobles, but no bones, sarcophagi, or burial relics have ever been found. Then there's the idea that the caves were ancient meeting halls or ceremonial sites used by a secretive community. This theory fits the cave's grandeur, but again there's no evidence of altars, carvings, or symbolic artwork. Just endless geometric chiseling. One of the most intriguing theories suggests the caves were part of a massive hydraulic system, possibly designed for flood control or water storage. But the caves show no signs of channels, sluices, or irrigation design. And then, of course, there's the fringe theory, that the caves are remnants of a lost civilization with engineering skills equal to or beyond those known in ancient China. While fascinating, there's no archaeological proof to support this. So what does the evidence actually suggest? Modern engineers examining the caves have concluded that carving them would require tens of thousands of workers, decades of continuous labor, a level of architectural sophistication far ahead of its time, and an enormous investment of resources. For such a massive undertaking to leave zero trace in historical records is almost unthinkable. Perhaps the best clue lies in the patterns on the walls. The repetitive chisel marks are not functional, they decorati. They give the stone a shimmering, fluid texture, almost like waves frozen in time. It suggests the creators weren't merely building storage rooms. They were crafting something meaningful, something intended to inspire awe. Could these caves have been sacred spaces, meant for rituals lost to history? Could they have served as underground sanctuaries during times of war? Or perhaps they were planned as a monumental project that was abandoned before completion. Its purpose never realized, its meaning lost. Yet the fact remains, the caves show no signs of fire, habitation, storage, or warfare. They appear pristine, untouched, almost intentional in their emptiness, as if the silence itself is part of the design. Today, several caves remain flooded or inaccessible. Others have been stabilized and open to the public. But there's a danger. The caves were sealed underwater for centuries, protected from erosion. Exposure to air has accelerated deterioration in some chambers. Preservation teams are racing against time to protect these ancient megastructures. But because we still don't fully understand how they were built or why restoring them has become a delicate puzzle. Standing inside the Longyou Caves today feels like stepping into a forgotten world. The silence is immense. The ceiling towers above, smooth and deliberate. Every carved surface whispers the touch of ancient hands. You can almost feel the presence of the workers who spent their lives shaping these underground cathedrals, never knowing that thousands of years later, people would still be struggling to understand their purpose. The Longyou Caves remind us that the ancient world was full of extraordinary achievements, some recorded, some celebrated, and some, like these caverns, left behind without explanation. They challenge our assumptions about history. They show us that even with modern technology, we cannot always replicate or understand the feats of our ancestors. And they leave us with one haunting question. If a civilization was capable of carving an entire world beneath the ground, what else might they have built that we simply haven't discovered yet? Thank you for watching. If you enjoy mysteries, ancient engineering, or unexplained archaeological wonders, make sure to like, subscribe, and join us for more deep dives into the unknown. And until next time, stay curious.